Alright, welcome to our introduction to FRQs, also known as free-response questions. And for this, we're going to use an example that pretty much anybody could use, and I'd like to just make a note that I stole this from David Palmer. So the PowerPoint itself is not my original work. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about summer vacation. So when you go to format your FRQ, when you go to write your FRQ, I want you to make sure you're labeling it with the letters, in this case, A, B, C, and D. Okay? If it had fewer parts, you would just label it with fewer parts. This is one of those rare occasions because what you're doing is answering a series of short answer questions that to help focus you, what I want you to do is restate the question in the first sentence of your answer for each individual part. Okay? And for each individual part of A, B, so for A, B, C, and D, I want you to have no less than 2 sentences. Okay, when you're ready. No less than 2. And for most of the FRQs you write, 2 is not going to be remotely close to enough. In every case, you need some kind of an identifier or a claim and some kind of an explanation. Okay? Your explanation could include examples. It could clarify your identifier or your claim. But it should always, 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 you need the extra explanation. That's how you guarantee the reader knows that you know what you're talking about. Okay? Makes it easier to award you points. With every single time you make a claim, that is every time you state an opinion, give details, give examples. Details, 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 examples, examples, examples to support your explanation. Again, firms up in the reader the idea that you actually know what you're talking about. Okay? So our sample question here is Part A, define the concept of fun as it relates to summer vacation. Part B, where did you go on summer vacation and why did you go there? Or, if you did not go anywhere, why did you stay in town? Part C, discuss the most fun thing you did during summer vacation and explain why it was the most fun. Use specific examples to illustrate your understanding. And then Part D, identify and explain an economic or environmental impact of your vacation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some example answers for each of these, just so that you kind of know what type of information the readers might be looking for, or how they want you to expand your answers. And then what we'll do with the last slide here is we'll talk about points, and we'll wrap it up by talking about how you can use labeling your essay and estimating points to help make sure that you're being complete in terms of how you're answering your question. Okay? So Part A, the concept of fun as it relates to summer vacation. When I think of summer vacation, fun to me is being able to play with my son at the park. Right, and watching him run around and enjoy the equipment and pull me in, and often he takes me on bus rides, is what he calls them. So I get to hop up on the equipment myself and run around after him, and we go on bus rides. Okay. Part B. We did not go anywhere for summer vacation this year. We made the choice to stay in town because we went out of town last summer, which used up a lot of our vacation budget, so we're saving up for a trip maybe for next summer. And also, we were busy pretty much every weekend this summer, so there wasn't really a lot of time where we could go out of town because we had a whole lot of other things that we were doing in terms of family commitments and trainings for me, work things for the wife, things like that. Okay. Probably the most fun thing I did during summer vacation was spending time with my son, and specifically what we did a lot this summer, which was really kind of fun, was we went out for walks. And going out for walks is one of my favorite things to do. I love to walk, I love to hike, and things like that. And Kieran, who's 4.5, is finally old enough to start doing some of that stuff for me, and really to be able to enjoy it, and for it to be something that we're working, or that we're doing together. And he's old enough that he's actually able to go for a good couple of miles, 2 to 3 miles easy, without me having to pick him up and carry him, or without him getting too tired. It's a blast to watch him discover the world, and he'll stop and play and look at all kinds of different things we see on our walks. You know, we spent 10 minutes today looking at a bed of river rocks that were part of a planter at Highline Community College, for example. And so that kind of stuff is really what makes it the most fun. Is just being able to do that, and to know I've got the time to do that, and not feel like I'm pulling time from something else. To just be able to relax. Part D. I would say an economic impact of our vacation was that we chose to spend our money in the local economy. So, for instance, we went up to Remlinger Farms a few times this summer with Kieran, and it's a local amusement park. We spent a lot of time at the local parks here in town. We went out to dinner a few different times, did some different things with friends, but what we did was we stimulated the local economy by choosing to spend our money here in Federal Way in the Des Moines area instead of spending it out of town. Alright, so that's my vacation FRQ. What we're going to go ahead and do here real quick, we'll talk about points. Okay? And in general, FRQs are going to be worth anywhere from 6 to 9 points. And you always want to try and answer an FRQ. There's 3 of them on the test. Each one of the 3 is worth 1/6 of your overall score. So if you don't answer an FRQ, I can guarantee you don't get points. If you write something, then you might very well score some points. Because even if you don't think you know what you're talking about, even if you're just guessing, sometimes you guess correctly, and the readers, they don't know that you're guessing. Okay? Unless you specifically say, I guess the answer is this, they're never going to have a clue that you're guessing. Okay, so the first part, right, is going to be worth 1 point. Okay? And it's worth 1 point because there's only one verb. Define the concept of summer vacation. Right? Define is your verb, so it's only worth 1 point. Okay? Part 2, there's 2 points. 2 different verbs. Where did you go? Why did you go there? Or if you didn't go anywhere, why did you not go anywhere? 2 parts, 2 points. Right? Part C, also 2 points. Okay? What was the most fun thing? So you've got an identify point, and then explain why it was the most fun. So there's an identify, or there's an explanation point. So 2 points. Part D, also 2 points, because you have to explain. So you'd probably pick up a point there if you identified it as either environmental or economic, and you identified the effect. Right? In my case, the fact that we spent our money in the local economy. And then you explained that a little bit more. And the way you can explain that is by providing examples. In my case, I talked about going to Remlinger Farms. Okay. And when you're writing these things, you can use the labels to make sure you're addressing each part of the question, that you're not skipping one of those parts or pieces, especially if it's something you're going to come back and answer. Okay? And then the points, make sure that within each part, you try and estimate how many points is it going to be worth. That gives you a checklist for how many different things should I be doing in my answer. Right? So if it's a 2 point, like for B, C, and D, if it's 2 points, you know that there's two things you should be doing. Okay? So it kind of helps you create your own checklist. And as we go, to start with, I'm going to give you checklists of do this, do this, do this, do this. But ultimately, I'm going to expect you to write your own checklists. And rubrics are going to say things like, you did all of what was asked. You did most of what was asked. You did some of what was asked. You did none of what was asked. Right? So start now. Start thinking about how can I create those checklists to help me answer FRQs. As we go, you'll get more practice. You'll get better at these. But if you have questions as you're going through and trying to answer them, or as you're thinking about them, by all means, please feel free to come in and see me, ask any questions you might have, and I'll look forward to working with you.